Hey everybody, my name's Melanie and this is Survive Better Together. So today our topic is getting mentally prepared. And when you think about it, very high stress situations occur to people at times. And some people that are more mentally prepared for certain situations tend to do a little bit better than those who don't. I'm sure each of you can think about a time or even a movie where something big happened and a person just froze. Not because they didn't want to react, but just because it was mental overload and they just couldn't. Like they couldn't comprehend what was happening fast enough for their mind and body to react to that situation. So that's kind of what I wanted to talk about today. There's so much going on. We all know it. We all know what we're on the verge of. We have a friend of ours that was just speaking about things to be worried with, and had no idea that he was kind of on this path, this journey that so many are. And he was like very clear that he was talking about an EMP possibly happening. So that's just something to, put in your forethought. There might be a lot of people around you, but there's a lot of different things you can do to get mentally prepared. So first of all, having your immediate family prepared for emergencies is huge. Peace of mind. A gal I know, she was not really into this whole prepping thing, as she called it, and she has a teenage daughter that has a couple little issues, and nothing too major, but we have outages all the time in our area. And so I was trying to get her started down that path, and I said, well, what happens if the power goes out and stuff? Anyway, long story short, she ended up getting some items and hiding them out in her house and getting extra candles and that kind of stuff. And lo and behold, about a week later, power went out. Her kiddo was home and she was not. And they were able to communicate. Her kiddo went right on over, got out the backup flashlights, and was completely fine eating snacks. So that's just a little bit of an example of things that can give you peace of mind and help change your mind frame. Okay, so we've talked about getting yourself prepped up a bit, because that's going to help your whole mental state just from having stuff on hand, just from having food and water, basic necessities. Another thing that people may or may not think about is when you have long-term outages, and if you've never been through one before, you would have no context. I have, so I'd like to share that with you. But when you go through something where you are going long-term without any power of any sort, sometimes you get a little stir crazy if there's nothing going on. So most of us are very attached to these things, right? So most kids are too. Video games, the TV. There's a lot of stimuli going on for our minds right now. But what did people do before all that, right? So John was telling me, I think it was just this afternoon, he said he would be okay with it because he's so tired of us being chained to these things. And I get what he's saying. I absolutely do. And a part of me agrees with him. Society has changed so much. On one aspect, they're wonderful tools. I mean, it's helped me so many times with my kids. And in fact, getting to talk to my children, it's great since none of them live around us. But in reality, it has changed society. And not all of it's been for the best. So Having other things to occupy your mind will also be huge on your mental stress and getting yourself in check. So I definitely think that having reading material, which we have talked about before, is going to be really big. And also think about things like games, puzzles, even like crosswords or what do you call that? Like little maze ones for the kids. There's all kinds of little things that they can do. Family board games, I mean, bring it back, make it a thing. You know, I can tell you that we did a thing for many, many years where we had Friday night games, and it was fun. I mean, I still remember it. And so you could start bringing stuff like that back now to kind of get people more in the hang. If they all of a sudden have to get thrown into that, it might not be as easy, but at least it's something to stimulate the brain other than just sitting there. Now, if you're somebody like me, when I get bored, I eat. Yeah, I can't help it. I try to stay busy so that I don't eat, but I'm a boredom eater. And that's a very drastic change for some people. Now, the one way I was able to curb that for myself was I don't buy anything hardly at all from the stores anymore. I pretty much make everything homemade. So, you know, our breads and our cinnamon rolls, and I mean, just everything. I make everything. We go to the butcher, or we, you know, we split a pig or a cow or whatever it is, but there's very little we have to buy from the store anymore. We do so much canning and have a pretty good inventory list, so we can have most things we want. Every now and then we'll want something. Like, I do not like spending the time to make a tortilla, then cut up the tortilla, then fry the tortilla into tortilla chips so I can have nachos on Tuesdays. But that is something that, you know, I'm okay with going to the store and getting. Now, keep in mind, when you're cooking at home and hardly going to the store at all, it's amazing how much of a difference it becomes. Pretty soon, there really isn't anything to snack on unless you're making snack foods, like, you know, maybe granola bars, dried fruit. I got on a kick. I got a 25-pound bag of carrots, organic carrots from Azure Standard. I don't know, I think it was like $8 or something like that. That's a lot of dang carrots. But the intent was, I knew that every time I've planted carrots for the past couple of years, I had a little critter come in and pull them up. So I thought, you know, I'm going to go ahead and get that. They're organic. I'm going to go ahead and can them up, and I won't have to worry about carrots for a few years. So I did that, and I was able to, you know, throw a few of them aside for snacks. I just made some dip and put them in dip. And you can do little things like that, but if you're not used to having no snacks around the house, it's gonna be very hard for you. Our youngest daughter is a snack freak. She really, really likes snacks. She goes to the store shopping literally just for snacks. I love her little soul, but so getting your body trained to eat differently than you would have to come, you know, something hitting the fan is really gonna be huge. So this is all a part of preparing your mind. You have to do all kinds of little things leading up to it, because otherwise it is overload. So if you try to do all this all at once, that's where you're going to shut down. Your body, it gets to a point where it's just too much. And you don't want people going cuckoo when you're cooped up with them, right? So it's really important just to get your mind in check, get your body in check, kind of know where you're at with things, because if you got to do it, you know, you need to know you can do it and not lose your, you know. So, get those items, see where you are with your preps, see where you are with your everyday needs, you know, like toilet paper, body soap, washing your hair. You're not going to do this stuff all the time, but all that really helps prepare you mentally for a different type of scenario. I think I've mentioned this a time or two before, but for our kids when they were younger, we literally would go no electricity, and we would do it for like a weekend or something, started on Friday and ended Monday morning. But it was really good practice so that they didn't freak out in case something did happen. Especially where we were living at the time when they were younger, it wasn't an uncommon thing to lose power. One time we lost power for 2.5 weeks. So my kids having that adaptation, we had lanterns. I have in every room ready to go at all times. I have a little tin that sits on my microwave that has matches and lighters in it. The whole family knows about this tin, and they can just go there and get a lighter or match or something to light candles or lanterns. And I intentionally made it so we had board games and card games and all kinds of little puzzles to do and things like that to keep us busy. And not only did it help prepare my children for when we had long-term power outages, but it also brought us closer together. It really did. We had so much fun. I just absolutely enjoyed having that time with our kids. We would cook off the wood stove and try to do silly things like who can make the fattest cookie and not have it doughy in the middle. You know, it was little things like that, but it really went a long way, and it was good, healthy stuff to learn. So get yourself mentally prepared. All the little things that we just talked about, it might not seem like a whole lot at talking about each little thing individually, but when you put it all together, it does add up. But if you can work on some of that now, you're gonna be light years ahead when it comes down to it. So stay safe, stay proactive, keep on prepping. Till next time, we'll see you then.